we'll be learning about properties of kite. Okay, so we will focus on kites today, and we will discuss how to solve for missing parts of kite. All right, so first thing first, let's talk about all these properties. All right, so when we're dealing with kite, we know the following, because I'm going to go through each of these bullets right here. So the first thing says the two pair of consecutive sides are congruent. What does that mean? It means the following. This line right here, this line is congruent to this line. If this was 5, then that's 5. They're called consecutive because they're right next to one another. Also, this side right here would also be congruent to this side. So for example, if this was 15, this would also be 15. All right, so easy way to identify the sides. Those. All right, next, we said one line of symmetry at the long diagonal. What does that mean? It means the following. The longest diagonal, we have to go from this corner, travel all the way through the middle, all the way to the opposite side right there. That's the longest diagonal. So this diagonal, we said it's a line of symmetry, meaning that I have two triangles now. And I'm looking at the top triangle right here. Then I'm also looking at the second triangle right here. It's a mirror. It's a completely reflection of one another. All right, so let's continue. Now it says that the long diagonal creates two congruent triangles. Check. You see, though, we have two, like I said, it's a symmetry. We have two triangles. All right, so one set of opposite angles are congruent. That only means this. This opposite angles right here will be congruent. These are the only one that are congruent in this kite. Just the opposite ones right there. So for example, if this was 120 degrees, this opposite angle would also be 120 degrees. That's the only angles that are congruent. Someone might say, hey, what about these angles right here? They're not congruent. Okay, let's take that off. Check. All right, diagonals are perpendicular. All right, so diagonals are perpendicular, meaning this. So let me draw the second diagonal, the one that goes right here. All right, so the perpendicular, meaning we're going to have 90 degrees form right there. That's the first 90. Here goes the second 90. There goes the third 90. And the last and fourth 90. Perpendicular means they create 90 degrees. And we will use those 90 degrees to find any other missing angles. Check. Exactly one diagonal is bisected, meaning this. So this long diagonal is the only bisecting diagonal that bisects the angle right here. So this angle, let me use a different color. What color should I use? Let's go with yellow. So these angles right here are bisected, meaning they are cut perfectly in half, meaning this. So if all of this, let's say this entire angle was 60 degrees, then you're looking at 30 here and you're looking at 30 here. All right. And let's try this one. Let's say this entire angle was 80, because they're not congruent. Don't expect the opposite side of this angle to be exactly 60 as well. No. So if the opposite was 80, then you're looking at 40 for each. That's what we call the long diagonal will bisect these angles. Check. Two pairs of congruent right triangles. All right, so two pairs of congruent right triangles, meaning the following. So you have a triangle right here. This triangle, this green triangle, will be congruent to this other one right here. All right. So for example, this 30, that got to be 30. If you know what this angle is, it will match this angle. And of course, the 90 and 90 matches. Same deal with this. All right. If you know that triangle, then it will match to this triangle. 40, 40, 90, 90, whatever this is right here will match to this right here. All right, and then it says point E is the middle. That's pretty much all the important stuff that you need to know. The last one that you need to know is this. So let me go ahead and draw the diagonals again. All right, quick recap. This will be congruent to this. If that's 120, you got to be 120. This equals this. This equals this. All right. The only thing that bisecting the angles are this one. So for example, if you were 80, then you got to be 40, 40. And then this one, let's say it's 100, then you got to be 50, 50. All right. And then we say that this makes a right angle, 90, 90, 90, 90. The most important thing that I left out is this, that this side right here, this side right here is congruent to this side right here. All right. So that was something I left out. I want to make sure you're able to see it before we dive into other stuff. All right. Whoop, equal. Cool. Let's move on. Let's talk about the following right here. So now we would apply what we have learned. We learn all these properties. Time to put it to work. All right. So if this is 18, well, this also must be 18. Because remember, this entire thing is congruent to this entire thing. That's 18. This is 18. Let's not forget we have 90, 90, 90, 90. All right, so here's where some of you will make here's the big misconception. If this is 29, somebody will say, well, this is also 29. My answer would be no. That is not 29. Why? Because it's the longest diagonal that bisect the angles. This is the longest diagonal. This longest diagonal bisect. So if this is 29, then I also have 29 right there. Okay. All right. So now how do I go about finding y? Well, we got this. So in this triangle, I'm going to emphasize on this triangle right here. My eyes are locked in the red triangle. In that red triangle, I have a 29 and I have a 90. I need to find the missing angle right here. So I can do 29 plus the 90, which would help me find the missing angle. So that's 119. Take that away from 180. Let's do right here. 7, 9, 1, and that will be 61. So this angle right here will be 61 degree. If that is 61 degree, then I know this also has to be 61 degree. All right. So that covers y. Now, how do I get to x? Well, to get to x, I can emphasize on this angle, on this triangle right here. In this triangle, I know I have an 18 degree that I also have the 90 degree. Add them up. 8, 10. All right, take that away from 180. 180 minus 108. 7 here. 10, 2. I get 7. 72. So x is 72. We're done. So pretty much you're just applying those things, the properties, you'll be able to get anything you need to get here. All right, so let's move on to this right here. So if this is 35, that also is 35. If this is 25, then this is also 25. If this is 20, then this is also 20. And eventually I will be able to show you how to find missing side. We will use the Pythagorean theorem at some point. Maybe next week we can dive in to teach you all of that stuff. For now, you can just find the outside.